Laker fans, how we doing? My name is Sammy Long here with Hoops Talk. Tonight we're getting into a Lakers-Pelicans preview video. Huge game, regular season finale, tons of playoff implications. It's just going to be a fun day of basketball, period, with the 10 a.m. tips and then 12:30 tips. Just so many things up in the air. It really feels like the finale of the NFL where there's so many things up in the air, and that's usually not the case with the NBA. So it's going to be really fun. I'm going to get into three things today. I'm going to talk about the breakdown of the matchup itself. We're getting into some Western Conference playoff scenarios, and then we're going to talk about how the Lakers finally control their own destiny. That is not something that they've been able to say for the last months, most of the season, really after the in-season tournament. So it's really exciting, and the Lakers finally got an opportunity. We'll get into that a little bit later. Talking about the matchup, these games have been really high scoring this year. The Lakers actually have scored a lot against this team. They've scored 133. 129 in a loss, and then 139. So, they've had some real success against this team, but the Pelicans are hot. They're on a 4-game win streak. The last game against the Warriors last night, everyone contributed. McCollum at 28, Zion at 26, Trey Murphy at 24. I think a guy to watch is Jose Alvarado. He comes off the bench for them. He played like 35 minutes the other night. He doesn't score that much. He had like 4 points, but he's an excellent defender. And in his job, I think it's going to make or break the game is D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves versus Jose Alvarado. Because Jose Alvarado's given a lot of really big-time scoring guards a lot of headaches, especially over the last couple of years. We know. D'Lo's been struggling. Austin Reeves has been struggling. I think D'Lo, since Sunday, he's been like 10 for 38, something like that, shooting. That just can't happen. The Lakers are going to go far. Austin Reeves has been struggling as well. And we've kind of hammered in the defensive woes over the season that they're not, great defenders. So if they're not scoring, it's tough to keep them on the floor, and they can be a real liability. But, the Lakers need them because when Reeves and D'Lo are cooking, this team can really beat anybody. And that's how, if they're going to go far, they need them to. I think that matchup's going to be big, really pulling hard for D'Lo. Would love to see him get back in that rhythm. Obviously, had a rough couple games here, but he's a great player, just like Austin Reeves. And it's going to be a real challenge. On the road, tough environment. That place is going to be rocking. And Brandon Ingram's coming back for this game. Finally, of course, to play his old team. So that he's going to be trying to bring it at the Lakers and kind of, make them regret trading him. And then it's from the other way. AD going back to his old team. They can't stand Anthony Davis. They hate him. Anthony Davis, I'm sure, wants to show him like, oh, yeah, you don't miss me anymore. And hopefully he's going to have a big game as well. So I think it's really going to start with those guard matchups. And they really got to impose their will because, we know Zion's going to get his. Brandon Ingram's going to get his. I think that you really need to limit McCollum. I think you can't when McCollum is going off, this team is really lethal because when the threes are hitting and McCollum's really their three-point shooter, then it becomes harder to defend because Ingram and Zion, these guys can go one-on-one ISO. But when they're not hitting threes and McCollum's kind of get locked up, you can really key on Zion, really key on Ingram, and make it more of a half-court game, which is what the Lakers like. The Lakers like that. They feel really confident in a lot of those games. The Lakers want to get to the foul line. They want to, get your foul numbers up. They don't want to just get in a three-point contest. And I think we'll see that tomorrow. It's going to be fun. Looking around the Western Conference playoff scenarios, it's such a fun time of year. There's tons of things going on. So if the Lakers win, they're the 8th seed, which is awesome. That means that they get 2 cracks at the apple. If they were to lose in that 7-8 game where the Lakers would travel to Phoenix probably, or the Pelicans, depending on what happened. And if they lost, then they get the winner of the Kings-Warriors game. Now, if the Lakers lose tomorrow and the Warriors win and the Kings win and they play the Jazz and the Trailblazers, so that's probably happening. Those teams probably aren't winning. They don't really want to win. There's nothing really in it for them outside of maybe pride, But hey, maybe they have a shooting night like Memphis did last night and are able to do something. Then the Lakers be the 10. Then they got to travel to the Warriors or Sacramento, which is going to be a great game. And then if you win that, then you got to go on to Phoenix or New Orleans or however it shakes out. And, that's a lot to ask. It's tough to ask that for the Lakers to win 2 games and then go in a 7-game series. If that were to happen, there's a little bit of a silver lining. the Nuggets probably aren't getting the number 1 seed. They would need Oklahoma City and Minnesota to lose tomorrow. They did this because the Spurs had a crazy 23-point comeback against the Nuggets. Just kind of shows you that anybody can beat anybody. The Grizzlies almost beat the Lakers with a bunch of G League guys. And the Spurs, really took it to the Nuggets when they were up 23, best team in the NBA. So if the Lakers were to get out of that 10 spot, they would be matched up with probably Oklahoma City or the Thunder. It's probably going to be OKC at the 1. They're playing the Mavs. The Mavs, I believe, don't have anything to play for because they have the tiebreaker with the Pelicans. So they're going to rest a lot of their guys, get a little rest. So Oklahoma City should take care of them. If that weren't to happen, if Oklahoma City were to lose, then Minnesota, if they beat Phoenix, would move in. And then for the Nuggets to be the 1, they would need Minnesota to lose, Oklahoma City, and then they would have to win tomorrow as well. So lots of things going around. And then in terms of what this game means, Al talked about this on the postgame show last night. He was kind of bringing up how every Laker fan, including myself, wanted the Suns to beat the Kings because then it put the Lakers in the 8th spot, and it was a complete control your own destiny game. Some people were saying if the Kings had won that game, then the Pelicans wouldn't have anything to play for because they wouldn't be in the 6th spot. And even if the Suns won on tomorrow, it wouldn't matter. So they might be resting their guys. But then if that would have happened, the Lakers would have needed the Timberwolves to beat the Suns. So getting into my last point, I love that the Lakers finally control their own destiny. This hasn't happened all year. The Lakers have been looking up at the standings. They've been scoreboard watching. For a while there, it was just like the Lakers were winning, and they weren't going anywhere because everyone else above them was winning, and they finally got in a position. Even though the last week of Laker basketball has been crazy with the loss to Timberwolves, a frustrating loss to the Warriors where they hit 26 threes, and then, an ugly win over the Grizzlies. But miraculously, they control their own destiny. If the Lakers win tomorrow, they are in the 8th seed. And that is something that I would rather have. And I'd rather have the Pelicans bringing it and have to go win that game on the road than scoreboard watching again. I want to see what this team's made of because the Lakers finally get a chance to just do it, control their own destiny, as I keep saying. They finally get a chance to, they don't have to worry about any other game or anything like that. This is where you show what you're made of. This is where you show if you're a serious Western Conference contender or if you're a team that has a lot of talent, has had some good wins this season, that's got people excited, but you're really not, you're not a real threat. And I think we're going to see that tomorrow. And the Lakers really got to, they got to bring the energy because yesterday's performance was unacceptable. If the Lakers play like that, they're going to get blown out and it's going to look disgusting in New Orleans, and they're going to be throwing a parade. It's going to be Mardi Gras 2.0. Because the Lakers looked uninterested yesterday. I've never seen an NBA team, really a professional sports team, look so uninterested in the game than the Lakers did last night. I mean, that thing looked like a 24-hour fitness game. The Lakers were playing 24-hour fitness, and the Grizzlies were trying to win an NBA game. They got to give them credit. I mean, those guys, they're not big names, but LaRavia and Scottie Pippen Jr., they were bringing it. They were trying to win the game, and they really believed it in the third quarter when they were up, 7? They got 7 at one point. So the Lakers can't bring that energy. Rui Hachimura talked about it in the postgame. He was like, I mean, it's a win, but it was ugly. It wasn't a good. You can't feel good about it. And I hope that we're going to look back on this Grizzly game as something that lit a fire in this team. Because as I mentioned earlier, there's revenge plots all over. Brandon Ingram's coming back tomorrow. He wants to drop 40 on his old team. Anthony Davis used to play for the Pelicans. They hate him. He's going to want to have a big game. Take this personally. Take the criticism that is bestowed on the Lakers the last week. People going, see, they're just whatever. They can't close. You barely beat a Grizzly team. You get smoked by the Warriors, the Timberwolves. In those two games, at least the Lakers had excuses with AD and LeBron being out in certain games. But last night was really inexcusable. This is a chance for the Lakers to go in, play a playoff team, and beat them on their home territory, on their home court. And if the Lakers do that, I think the sky's the limit, man. If they are able to go in there and win a tough, hard-fought game, because it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be one of those where we're all nervous and can't eat for a while during the game because it is going to be these two teams. go at each other, and they're very familiar with each other. They played a lot this year. And the Lakers beat them in the in-season tournament. I'm sure they're going to want to, get some revenge on that in the playoffs, the thing that matters. But they control their own destiny. And I hope tomorrow in the postgame, everyone's cracking a beer and we're talking about whether we're playing Phoenix or the Pelicans. That's another thing before we get out of here. If the Lakers beat the Pelicans and the Suns beat the Timberwolves, then the Suns will go to the 6 and we'll actually be back in New Orleans next week playing a game. But if the Lakers were to beat the Pelicans, but the Timberwolves beat the Suns, then we'll be playing Phoenix in Phoenix. So that's going to be interesting as well. We are going to be curious if the Lakers are up, where the Lakers would be going to play. But they just got to come out with that eye of the tiger and really impose their will. And hopefully we're talking about a big victory and looking for the playoffs next week. And hopefully we're not talking about tomorrow a 10 seed matchup where we got to go on the road a bunch. I think the Lakers are going to do it. I think they're going to get it done. And thank you, Laker fans, for tuning in. Please check in for the postgame show after tomorrow. I'm going to be doing comments in the background. Al's going to be holding it down. And thank you, guys. Go Lakers.